Three Musketeers aren't really tank killers, and if they have Fireball, Poison, Rocket, whatever, you are doomed. But if you do have 9 Elixir to spare and you're in a pinch, that Royal Giant will not get more than 1 hit on your tower. Barbarians aren't very common in high arenas because it seems everyone has spells or splash units, but they're still quite effective. RG is only going to get 2 hits on your tower. If you use E-Barbs, that's actually not bad. This surprised me myself just because that Royal Giant's only gonna get 2 shots on the tower. It's the distance that the Royal Giant has to walk and just how fast the E-Barbs are. Minion Horde is a high risk counter. If you know they have absolutely no counters to your Minion Horde, it's decent at preventing more than 2 hits. And now you can counterattack with a Minion Horde. Goblin Gang does the same thing, but there will always be support troops behind an RG. But just for reference, the Goblin Gang, left ignored, can stop the Royal Giant from getting more than 2 hits on the tower. Skarmy is the juiciest swarm counter to the Royal GG, but here's the thing. Anything, a gust of wind, a snowball, a log, a zap, a tornado, bats behind the Royal Giant, a fart, anything is gonna stop the Royal Giant. This is incredibly unreliable, but it does stop them completely if they have no counters. Cannon Cart isn't exactly the best tank killer, but it is a really good card to counter push with. Realistically, you'll want to plant the Cannon Cart to take out the RG and a tank in front of it just so that it can absorb or protect the Cannon Cart. Now you're up Elixir and can counter push. Pair any of these tank killers with an Ice Wizard, a building, or even a tornado, or even better, have all 4 types of counters in your deck. Tornado does an amazing job because of his 5 tile range now. Slap any tank killer on the map like a Prince, pull back the RG with Tornado, and this pretty much shuts down most RG decks, especially if it's their primary win condition. The reason spawners are so good against the RG is because they're passive buildings. So you plant down a building, you bank some elixir in the map. Now that RG has to penetrate through that hut. Ice Wizard or any tank killer paired with a hut, and there's no way that Royal Giant is getting through. So what if he's already connected, but you have a building in rotation? You can push back the Royal Giant with any buildings. Passive buildings like any spawners or elixir collectors will push the Royal Giant out of range and force him to retarget. Defensive buildings have a slightly slimmer hitbox, but it still works. You'll be able to successfully block the Royal Giant from smacking the tower. Tesla is the thinnest building, and this still works at pushing the Royal Giant away from the Prince's Tower. The optimal placement for center planted RG is on the inner tile, so based on that placement, you can absolutely plant a Tesla to thrust the Royal Giant out of range of your Prince's Tower. It's especially effective when you push with a Tombstone, just because of all those skeletons that spawn. It forces your opponent to zap the skeletons, which baits out the zap, lets you play whatever like Goblin Gang or anything else. Even if he's locked onto your tower, no problem. Push him back, and you're golden. This buys you time to properly counter him with some tank killers or other support troops. Any tank killer like Mini P.E.K.K.A paired with either the log or even a 1 elixir Ice Spirit is enough to stop the Royal Giant from getting more than 1 shot off your tower. This may very well be worth it since the Royal Giant deals more damage than a fireball each hit. Just throw everything you have. Any small units like skeletons will make a huge difference too. Electro Wizard plus skeletons, 1 hit on your tower. That's it. Ice Wizard and skeletons? The Ice Wizard deals almost no damage, but that slow is so juicy. Royal Giant is only going to get 2 hits on your tower. Of course, there will always be support troops behind the Royal Giant. These are all of the examples to give you better perspective. If you use Executioner and Tornado, that Royal Giant's going to get 3 hits on your tower, but at least you're able to eliminate every single support troop behind the Royal Giant, and you're up an Executioner now. One deck I'm starting to see surface quite a bit more frequently in 12-win grand challenges are bowler decks. This is rather interesting because bowler is an anti-meta killer. It handles all the Royal Giant tank killers like Mini P.E.K.K.A, Lumberjack, and the Hunter. So bowler actually synergizes well with the Royal Giants. To summarize how to counter the Royal Giant, bring a tank killer, bring a building, use Tornado, use Ice Wizard, use any of these 2 combinations, or if you are really scared of Royal Giant, bring all 4.